So welcome everybody to the Premier League Cricket Show, and we said it the other week, we're back, but we're back with League Cricket now at last. It's been a long bloody time since we talked Premier League Cricket. Did a bit of that National Club Championship at the weekend, which was good crack obviously, but we're now back to Premier League Cricket, and joining me as ever, he's branded up correctly, Mr. Hugh Newsom. How are we doing, buddy?
Not too bad. I even had a shave. Look at that. It's a rarity, isn't it? Even had a shave.
Yeah, you got your hat on though because you haven't had a haircut.
No, well, I've sort of, but yeah, it's fine. It's better off seeing a woolly hat than my hair.
Absolutely. And also, he's back. We couldn't he is back. We didn't want to get rid of him. He's Mr. Premier League from Cric. Matt Taaffe, how are you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad. It's been a very, very, very long winter.
But hasn't it, the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks has just gone by like nothing else?
Yeah, it has, to be honest.
It's almost as if the sun shines, everything's all right, isn't it? In the last 6 to 8 weeks, the sun's been pretty shiny. The previous, 10 years or whatever it felt like was grim on it.
The sun wasn't shining on Saturday in that pre-season.
Oh, no, it was cold on it. Jeez.
I think coldest I've ever been on a cricket pitch, hands down.
I had a lot of layers on, and then I was playing with a young lad, a 15-year-old lad, and he had whites and a t-shirt on, and I was like, you're gonna have to have one of my jumpers. So I gave him one of my jumpers, took one for the team there. But wicket keeping in those conditions is the way forward, because you've got big thick gloves on, haven't you? Sorted. You can wear as many layers as you like, and you're actually still toasty. So yeah, another reason to be a wicket keeper.
And you had a decent weekend, Mr. Taaffe. 41 retired, not out against the national champions.
Got shafted, really. Brought me off. 41.
Yeah, let's get one thing straight though. How many of the national champion 11 were playing?
3.
There you go. Move on. It was. Yeah, we are back now because we've just shafted Taaffe, which is about right. But genuinely, how good was it, mate, to get in the middle of Stanley Park, bat in hand, and get a few runs straight away?
Yeah, it was a nice start. Like you say, hopefully I carry on when it actually matters Saturday onwards, and I don't snick them early doors like I did last year. So we'll see how we go.
I seem to remember your cup form was pretty good last year. You did all right in the cup, and then the league fell away, didn't it?
Post hamstring tear was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know whether you can see. There you go. Sat in the office.
It does look lovely. We were talking about this when we were at Duffield on Sunday, weren't we? And it looks like a really lovely place to be a cricket club member. Stanley Park. It's pretty special.
Spot. It's quite nice to call it home, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you got a spot you can, if you can't quite make it home one night, can you curl up somewhere in a corner? Will anyone notice for a few days?
Yeah, take your pick, really.
It's a big place, isn't it?
Fair few rooms you can sneak off to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So come on then. How's Blackpool in the Northern Premier League looking this year? You got Ali Usman back this year. Is he back for the start of the league, or is he back for the weekend?
He's missing the first weekend, unfortunately. Pakistan have cropped up a 13-day spin bowling camp while the PSL is going on. So work that out. Yeah. Should be back for the second week, and then he's into his magic again like he was last year. So, Northern League's looking really strong. 2 weeks of pink ball League Cup stuff to start, and then it all kicks off. But I couldn't tell you who'll win it, who'll go down. It's a level playing field, I think. Some serious names coming across.
Absolutely. We'll talk about the Northern Premier League in our next pre-season preview. That starts in May. But we've got 16 of the Premier Leagues that start this weekend on the 18th of April. Let's start with one of the big boys. No two ways about it. The most unbeaten side in the country last year when it came to the league was Newfoundland. They won the Bradford Premier League at a canter, I think is the best way to put it. Went on to win the National T20 Championship at Wormsley, beating Wanstead and Knaresborough. Looking as strong as ever, I think is the best way to put it, Hugh, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the table from last year, they were over 100 points clear of second place. 22 played, 19 wins, no losses. So yeah, they're just well set, aren't they? What's the transfer news though? You're the man with the transfer. Is there anything big happening in Newfoundland?
So Newfoundland's biggest transfer, which is the one that they were looking to make sure they nailed, was getting Abe Negi back there overseas, which cracking bowler, really good guy. He's back there. New Farley generally been quite quiet themselves in the Bradford League. Lane been very busy. Farsley been a bit busy up there, and Pudsey St Lawrence as well. But I'm going to suggest that the single biggest move in the Bradford League is one out of it. And it's one me and you picked up at the weekend, to see the Farsley captain, Ben Wright, leave to come back down to Derbyshire and play for Spondon.
Yeah, it's a big move. That I think it's also a late one, isn't it? I don't know whether it's been there for a while and just hasn't been announced, but late moves are a bit scary for clubs, aren't they? In both directions. So yeah, that's a really big signing for Spondon, and they're always strong, aren't they? So to get somebody like him coming in, that's a really big bit of news. But yeah, it's looking at Ryan McKendry was over 1,000 runs last year at 70 for New Farley, along with Aidan Langley, also over 1,000 runs. So yeah. It's going to be tough for anybody to top that. I mean, Townville did really well, didn't they? I mean, they had a lot of change previous, between 2024, 2025. So, and they finished second. So, it's difficult to call. I was calling them to be maybe a bit of a struggling team, and they finished second.
Yeah, and as we know, Townville are a wonderful little club. If I remember rightly, they're one of the very few clubs out there without a bar, and the volunteers do an incredible job to actually get to where they are all the time, keep bringing players through. I'll be interested to see how they go again. I think one of the other transfers that I think's quite interesting is a young gentleman called Joe Davis, who Taaffe might have come up against playing for Kendal. And he's got over to Farsley in the Bradford League, so that's quite a decent one for them there. But it seems to be more players have jumped out of the Bradford League than jumped into it this year. There's quite a few moved to the Huddersfield League around that way. What's the professionals, the overseas situation been like, Taaffe, when it comes to Bradford? You guys been dealing with many there?
Yeah, like you say, strong up and down the country. But yeah, it's similar. Each league, each Premier League, really, there's a handful that operate through us and others, really. But yeah, it's Neggy going back to New Farley is a big one, isn't he? He's some player.
He sure is, to say the least. I'm just trying to see now, get off my list. So Sanoj Darshika is with Townville. I think he's one of your boys, isn't he?
Yep. Yeah, he's one of ours. Just
that one there. The one thing I've picked up, and I don't know if you've picked up on this, Hugh, I have seen today who the new captain at Farsley is.
Go on.
Our old friend Joe Pocklington.
Oh, of course. Has he got time to do that?
Exactly. He's going to be playing at Notts and in the twos there, and he's back and forth. Me and you were suspecting that he might have ended up going elsewhere, didn't we?
Well, you never know. It's I don't know where he's living at the moment, but obviously enjoyed his time up north, didn't he? And a very fruitful time it was. With Ben Duckett coming back and showing everybody how to bat, it's hard for Joe to everyone. You've got people being shunted out of the first team at Notts. So, I think maybe when the international windows open, international summer kicks in, then I think Joe's going to get much more of a game at Notts, isn't he? And a hell of a depth player he is after a terrific winter. But yeah, great for him to be captaining. I mean, he's going to be kept busy captaining. I mean, he's busy enough captaining a side, let alone a bit of first-class cricketer and captaining a side.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move down south to just round the corner from me and you, Hugh, and let's get down to the Birmingham Premier League. Without a shadow, one of the power horses out there in terms
power
of
horse
out there. Absolutely, yeah. Smethwick. I'm not saying they ran away with it last year, but there was just, at the end, it looked reasonably comfortable. They had a tough start, if I remember rightly. They didn't really get off to the way they should have. They've got Deepak Khatri again, though, and we love that phrase cheat code. He's up there, isn't he, Hugh?
Yeah, Deepak. Just the 951 runs at 50 and 49 wickets at 16 last season. I mean, up there with number one player in the country, possibly. Doesn't get much better than that. So yeah, to get him coming back is business number one, isn't it?
100%. I mean, that was the key to their season, obviously. They have, and I think I made a point of this on one of our other shows, they have signed Moeen Ali at Smethwick as well. But then it was announced a few weeks later that he'd signed for Yorkshire.
Yeah, I think that's he's done one there, hasn't he? He's like, yeah, I'm retiring. Oh, Yorkshire's calling. Oh, might as well have a go. But you're not going to say no if you're Moeen, are you? And I think he'll go fine. He's not exactly going to be rusty. He still looks a hell of a player every time he walks out.
Absolutely. I think some of the other interesting transfers around the Birmingham League, Dan Latigan from Kidderminster has got to Ombersley in the Premier League. Started the season really nicely for Worcestershire. Obviously, the big question is always the same one: that how many games is he going to get? Alexei Kavizi, who's left Hales Owen, and he's now on the Worcester coaching staff, but he's gone to Harborne in the Birmingham District League. And one that we know quite well, without a shadow, that is really interested to see, be able to manage how things go between different leagues. Ethan Berlusconi leaving Ockbrook and Borrowash in the Derbyshire League and heading to Nolan Dorridge, one of the top clubs in Birmingham. It's just always interesting, isn't it, to see how someone's going to go from one league to another and see what the difference is there.
He's very, very well respected in the Derbyshire League, isn't he? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. He talks about Dan Latigan there. I mean, we spotted him last year when I think one of his first games was actually against Derbyshire. I just think he might be an England player fairly soon. He just looks like is he 19, 20? He just looks like he's taken to cricket, or professional cricket, like a duck to water. I think he's South African born. He's been at school here, I think. But yeah, so we might not see much of him in the Birmingham Premier League for very long. But I just think he's going to be flying.
Most definitely, it's the age-old problem. You get your pros from your county. It looks great on the paperwork. I'll say one name, Stephen Croft, Blackpool. But how many games are you going to get out of them? Because these boys are busy. Whether players or coaches, they are busy. And as a consequence, you do have after those backups along the way there. So yeah, very busy league it's been across Birmingham District Prem. The clubs that have been really busy in particular, Harborne with, as I say, Alexei Kavizi, Hassan Mahmood, Kishan Patel and Rayan Khan all joining them this year. Moseley have been signing a couple of players up here and there. Yeah, I'm convinced that the team to beat is still Smethwick. Although I've got this sneaky feeling that Nolan Dorridge with their 4 quicks, you don't find many club cricket teams with 4 quicks and genuine quicks. A lot's down to the weather. If they get the right weather, they get the right pitches, that makes all the difference there. And then obviously you've got the teams who have come up into the Birmingham District in Dorridge and Kenilworth Wardens. And Kenilworth Wardens have been a bit busy when it comes to signing. But what I've seen a lot of happening this year in the Birmingham District is they've been looking down to the Warwickshire Cricket League and down to the Worcester League and things like that, because I think there's a lot of good players down there who just don't get that experience further up. And the word that keeps being thrown to me by a number of captains this year is about building depth into the squad, Taaffe. Is that what you're feeling around the Northern Premier League, for example, that you're seeing clubs build more depth rather than just go for superstars as well?
Definitely. With the amount of cricket now being played, you have to have that club depth. The amount of Sunday stuff people aren't available for other commitments. You need them 2 or 3 players to come in and sort of replicate what the starting 11 will be doing. So it's that squad of 15 is just crucial, and what, like I say, we're striving for at Blackpool, and I'm sure majority of the teams across the country are as well. But it's tough.
It is, most definitely. I'll just leave one other on the table there from the transfers. Great player at Cavs and Carrington last year, Sanullah Khan, has gone down to Moseley in the Birmingham District. He's a top player. He's good to watch down there as well. So that'll be an interesting one to see there.
We heard what's happening to Dusty Melton. Obviously, pod legend, Dusty Melton. He was at
Shrewsbury, as far as I'm aware.
Very good, because Shrewsbury had George Hargrave nearly 1,000 runs, and obviously Dusty Melton up there with 31 wickets at 22. So if they can keep those two together, they'll continue to do a good job. They weren't too far away, Shrewsbury, from winning it last year. So yeah, could go.
Yeah, I think they were
one better.
A shout with about 6 games to go, weren't they still? And then dropped off a little bit, to say the least. So let's go a little bit further north and quickly talk about the Cheshire League, which gets going this weekend, I believe it is. Now this is one of the quietest leagues in the country for transfers. Literally, I'm talking about 15-ish transfers so far I've been able to record. As anyone ever asks me the question, I'm recording them the same way I've done it the last 2 years. So it's not like I've changed what I'm doing. And clubs are actually getting better generally at putting them out there, but it's very quiet. Is that the case of just everyone's sticking with what they've got? Didsbury won the league last year. Very little change, Hugh.
Are they just too posh for social media? Is that it? They're just above it.
You've just killed the Cheshire League. One foul swoop, as ever.
Every time I drive through Cheshire, I pop out of Derbyshire through Cheshire, and it's just like gorgeous sort of rolling fields and race horses and things like that. So my view of Cheshire is not necessarily in line with the collective economic status of the county as a whole.
Absolutely. Well, if I was to tell you, I think that across the entire league, I've got transfers from 5 clubs. That's it, which is absolutely negligible. I'm going to put a name on the table that I'm really, really hoping to see a lot more of this year in the Cheshire Premier League. And it's one that we know through friends of ours at Cricket Mentoring as well. Is this the year that Jackson Bentley breaks into the first team at Nantwich on a regular basis now? He played a couple of 3 games last year. He got injured as well last year. Bloody wicket keepers in their hands is all I'll say. He's out in India right now with Cricket Mentoring, having another couple of weeks training with the boys out there in Bangalore. He's in the EPP at Lancashire. He's got to be one of those ones we've got to keep an eye on, Hugh, isn't it?
Yeah, and it'd be Bunbury Festival as well. He went there last year as a 14-year-old. So, yeah, he's just a talent, isn't he? Obviously, he's very famous on social media, but I think he's doing it in a really positive way. He puts stuff on social media and he puts his failures on social media. You know what I mean? He's not the perfection merchant. It's just it's just whatever's on there, and it doesn't always float everybody's boat, but it's a really interesting content, and he's really heading down the sort of coaching route with it, which is great, and the kids love it. I mean, they really do. We could be grumbly old adults looking in, but actually, the juniors respond to it way more than if I was going to put some stuff on social media or anything else.
Yeah.
I think they look to their peers, don't they? And he's certainly that. And yeah, there's a few lads going to start popping up on my stats age 15, I think, this year. And we had obviously Tom Roos, the famous one at 14 in 50s. I don't think many people do that, but I think there's a few lads could be troubling the scorers on a regular basis at 15, 16.
Yeah, and let's be honest, if anyone's been watching Instagram the last sort of 48 hours, Jackson is not going to get to face 150 kph bowlers as he has done with a sidearm in India. I did send a message to his dad, Nick, and Jackson just took it in his stride, as he always bloody well does. But the sidearm guy who was throwing it at him, wow, it was rapid, to say the least.
Yeah, it's not good. There's been a bit about sidearms, isn't there, with regard to junior cricketers, so probably the less said the better. There's a few issues over in Australia, wasn't it? Poor lad got killed, so I think we've got a bit of new guidance, apparently, so we have to be very careful around sidearms. And
one move from the Northern Prem down to the Cheshire League, which I thought was quite interesting. Zach Christie leaving Longridge down to Timpley. He was quite a key player for Longridge last year, wasn't he, Taaffe?
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, he scored a shed load of runs for Longridge over the years. He does live in Manchester, so he was commuting to Longridge, so it does make sense for him. I'd have liked him at Blackpool, to be honest. I think it'd have been a nice fit for us, but yeah, like you say, less travel for him. Manchester to Longridge is a bit of a drive, so like you say, I'm sure he'll do well. Steady and good player. Did well in Australia as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Arif Shetty's one to watch. I mean, Arif's been around the Cheshire League for a while. I've been in the GMCL as well a bit, but obviously he's at Lancs doing well. He's playing 2s today. I think he was not out when I last looked. I don't know if he's still going, but yeah, I think Arif, is a great example of a guy that's sort of stuck at it and sort of earned. I think has he got a Lancs contract now? Am I correct in saying he's got a Lancs contract?
Pro contracted, yeah.
Yeah. So that's on the back of on the back of Premier League, on the back of Saka as well, and other things. So yeah, really interesting one to watch. So yeah, keep an eye out for Arif this summer.
So moving on, let's talk about our home league very briefly, shall we, Hugh? Had the pleasure of being at Duffield at the weekend to see the first of the National Club Championship preliminary rounds. Duffield, unfortunately, got beat by Westbridge Fordians.
I'm not sure it was unfortunate.
Well, I was going to say congratulations to Westbridge Fordians, who, personally, I don't think the scorecard showed they gave them a bit of a beating, really, didn't they, I think?
That's it, yeah. And it's because one of the ex-Worksworth players was playing for Westbridge Fordians, and I didn't realise. So there you go, Michael Wright, who who is a hell of a spinner. He's living over there. I'm told. I'm surprised he's not come back to Worksworth, but maybe we're just too crap. No, it was a pleasure to watch West Bromwich play, because they were on it and Duffield weren't. But they've got a bit to do. Duffield. It's their first season coming up, so it's where my daughter is, and I'm really excited to see how they go. It's going to be tough. We know how difficult Premier League is compared to Division 1, so we'll see. But they look like they're well set. They've got Hash, he's sort of, I don't think he counts as an overseas now, and then he works in their indoor cricket centre. He's an absolute top bloke. He's their captain, and then they've shipped in his brother, who's about 8 foot taller than him.
He's about 8 foot taller than him, yes.
Yeah. So I think they've got a couple of very, very experienced lads there, intermingled with Duffield lads. So yeah, we'll see. It's just whether they've got the depth to hang on. And I think if they do hang on, they could hang on for many, many years, because they've certainly got it coming below one of the largest clubs in Derbyshire in terms of juniors and teams. So, yeah, exciting times.
Definitely. Well, the one to look out for at Duffield this weekend is the season opener. Derbyshire County Cricket Club don't have a game. And both Lewis Rees and Martin Anderson are signed for Duffield. They may just be able to sneak one, maybe two of them on the pitch, which would be a nice way to start the season without a doubt. And talking of signed players who are playing in the league, one of our old friends through yourself there, Hugh, Mr. Ben Martindale, he had his season up in Lee in the Liverpool district. It was obviously a long way to go from Nottingham. And now he's gone to Chesterfield, which is a good club for him to be turning up. And Chesterfield have been possibly the busiest club in the market, to be frank, bringing players in left, right and centre to keep them, in the Premier League and do better than the 8th place that they got to last year, because I think they were slightly disappointed. Ockbrook been very quiet around the league, losing Ethan Berlusconi. I'm not sure who's replacing him there at the moment. Belper Meadows been quite busy with one or two players. You know, they only just scraped to staying in the Premier League last summer, so they've been a bit busy. Signed a very interesting South African guy, and I'm going to try to say his name and absolutely kill it. Seppo Nanwadwa.
Okay.
And when you see it spelt, it's actually an incredibly difficult one to get around there, to say the least. And Rex Tooley coming over the overseas at Ticknell. That's a name that sort of rang a bell from somewhere else, and I don't know why, but it'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. But we've also got a couple of players who've come to the Cheshire League, into our Derbyshire League as well. It seems to have been a bit of a theme, to be frank. If you look across the transfers across the country, quite a few players have made moves from one league to another, genuinely because it's, you know, they've got work has changed and stuff like that. But it gives us something to really talk about then and see the difference between the leagues, doesn't it, Hugh?
Yeah. And it's the top names in Derbyshire are often the same year in, year out. So to see Ethan Berlusconi go off to Birmingham is it's a bit of a surprise. But yeah, I mean, last year, your top two, you got Zimmers Deploy, obviously, Ogbrook and Stefan Muller. I don't think Stefan's coming back, is he, for Spondon? Oh, he is coming back. That's news to me. So yeah, I mean, he's going to be a big move. Nick Mann at Belper, you know, another Aussie's done well. So yeah, we might see similar names towards the top, and then it's a question of how many games can certain players play. Mohammed bin Naeem did well with the wickets last year, 32 wickets at 14, and he can bat as well for San Diego. And they've got Connor Marshall there, so you know San Diego's going to be taking plenty of wickets again, and I would expect Mohammed bin Naeem to play a fair bit. He doesn't look like he's going to get a huge amount of time at Derbyshire, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know where Zaroub's popping up again. He was at Chesterfield last year. Is he staying put at Chesterfield? Do we know?
I haven't seen his name, I don't think, but there is another name at Chesterfield that you can tell me a bit more about. The young Tiger Nishikawa Khan.
Yeah. That's Derbyshire under 14s play, so he's a bit of my lad. So yeah, we'll see. I don't think he'll be playing in the Premier League very often, but one for the future. Yeah, he's the one thing you will see of him is he will be turning out in the Japanese under 19s team, because his mum is Japanese. So yeah, they're certainly going to be popping up next time in the under 19 World Cup. I think he'll be old enough, so yeah, that'll be a good one.
They get everywhere, don't they? Without a shadow. These days, if you've got the right passport, you can play under 19s, and you can end up coming back to play somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I think he's been over to Japan a few times. I think he's got a fair bit of the language as well. So he's not like he's not a token passport like a certain few Italian players over the summer. I think he's got a genuine
Italians.
Yeah, genuine chat.
Let's talk about the League of Leagues that we love talking about probably the most in the last couple of years, East Anglia. It's possibly the most fun league in the country without a shadow. In the last 2 years, it's been incredible for us to watch what's going on there. Sawston won that league last year and won it reasonably well. Copdock came second and Horsford third. But I called it on a podcast a few weeks ago. It's the single most difficult league in the country to get into from the feeder leagues, because you win your league after a whole bloody season. You've then got to go to semi-finals. You've got to beat the team who's come down. It's very difficult. And Ramsey from Huntingdonshire have joined the East Anglia Premier League to just make it now officially the longest drive in the country. From Ramsey to Frinton or Ramsey to Ashmore and Barton Wanderers, 2.5 hours on a good day.
Well, that's almost as bad as Blackpool to Kendal, isn't it?
Blackpool to Carlisle.
I forgot you got Blackpool Carlisle this year. Of course you have, yeah. Do you think they'll call you off 10 seconds before the match is due to start, like certain teams did to you last year, Taaffe?
Hope not. Like you say, it took us 3.5 hours to get there last year. So
yeah. Carlisle, they're good lads at Carlisle. They'll be well behaved. Yeah, but I can imagine you got a completely different climate when you're going to Carlisle, haven't you? At least East Anglia, it's generally going to be fairly consistent.
It was cold when we were there last year, that's for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. So come on then, around the East Anglia League, been some movement there. Ramsey have been busy. They've signed up a number of players from Sawston and Babraham. Henry Wilson and friend of the show, Dan Heath, has gone to his mates up at Ramsey. He was very quick to send me a message this morning with a brilliant commentary from the National Club Championship at the weekend, where Ramsey went down to Winchmore Hill and Henry Wilson hit one of the biggest sixes he's ever seen. Commentators were great. So lovely to see a stream with a commentary. It just makes all the difference that up there. Interested to see Frinton have been very active in the last couple of weeks. Frinton last season struggled quite a lot, but they've brought Hannu Vilja in as an overseas. They've been busy going around the rest of the league. Got Nico Boja from Copdock, and he's a proper NWCA player there, which I thought was a really interesting one. And Mark Smith from Sawston. So there's quite an interesting movement going around there. We've got some old favourites though. KC Taaffe, he's back.
He is back, some man. No doubt will lead the charts again. Can bowl.
Yeah. 53 wickets at 14. I mean, Mildenhall were dicey with relegation there, weren't they, last year? And they were not expecting that. And I think it's just a testament to the strength of the league that you got an IPL bowler taking 53 wickets at 14 and you're still touching relegation. You've got a bat. We did some stats, didn't we, Taaffe? We were on that little chat with the Cric group with the runningest, scoringest, most in the countryist. East Anglia Premier League is the top run scoring league in the country for the past 2 seasons. So it's all about big runs in the east, as you would expect on the good tracks down there. But I think Mildenhall probably didn't get the runs that they would have liked last year. Just looking at the top 10 bowlers, the top 10 batters, there's not a single Mildenhall name amongst them. Adam Jones famously with his 1.474 runs at 98 and then straight into a contract in New Zealand, didn't he? So he's done all right as Adam Jones. But I don't suspect he'll be back
this year.
I haven't heard anything. No. So it's and then Sam Arthurton, of course, is there, isn't he? As he always is.
It's Tax's death and Sam Arthurton when it comes to East Anglia and runs without a shadow. And one of the interesting ones from East Anglia I've picked up on in the last week or so. So Arthur Wilcox has left Downham Stowe because he's at university up in the northeast. However, he will be playing for Newcastle Cricket Club for the first 6 weeks of the season, and will be dual registered to then go back to East Anglia and play for Downham Stowe in the East Anglian Premier League, I believe.
Is that allowed? Again, you have to transfer.
Once again, league rules differ from all around the country, and it just shows that. Would that be allowed in the Liverpool and District or the Northern Prem, Taaffe, for somebody come back and forth?
I don't think it is. There's a cut off. There's a cut off. I know North Staff, South Cheshire, they have a cut off, don't they? Where you can't change clubs in the league after a certain period. I think it's the same in ours. But touching on Downham Stowe, there's young South African going over, Dan Cook. He's he's one to look out for. He looks a serious player, so I'm interested to see how he.
Is he your Matthew Campbell of this year?
I'm still going Matt Campbell again. This year. I'm going to really stick with my guns, but yeah, I'm sure he'll go.
He's quite a young lad, Dan Cook, isn't he?
Yeah, young lad. He's got a British passport, and
gold.
I'm sure he'll go really well. He does look a serious player, so hopefully he scores them.
Downham are well set on that. I mean, Brett Stallworth. I mean, you look at why Witchingham went down. I mean, it was an absolute bum fight towards the bottom. Witchingham went down to 256 points. Brett Stallworth, ex Witchingham, 49 wickets at 19. You know, there's your reason right there. You know, it's you need those wickets. It's the best run scoring league in the country. You need wickets. So yeah, to lose 49 wickets at 19 was basically relegation fodder.
Absolutely. Let's move on to back up in the Northwest, Greater Manchester League. Won last year by press switch, if I remember rightly, very late on in the end of the season. It was that was a very last minute win by press switch, beating our friend Mr. Guy Emmett at Row Green and the boys over there. And there were some spectacular games towards the end. It's a very low scoring league in comparison to the East Anglia League. We're going from one extreme to the other here.
Up north.
Yeah, tell me about it. GMCL has just been awash with transfers through the winter. And yeah, I've got a comment on one club in particular. Shaw Cricket Club, who, let's be brutal about this. If it wasn't for Ollie Riley and Flixton saying, boys, we need to step down a couple of divisions, Shaw were relegated last year. And they have managed to stay in the GMCL by virtue of Flixton dropping down a couple of divisions. But they have been signing players like no tomorrow. Now, I'm going to put it out there. I'm hearing rumours of private planes going to the Isle of Man for pre-season friendlies and potentially go to Jersey this weekend for the same. Now, I'm going to put it out there. Taaffe, have you been hearing the same?
I've heard the same. If it's true, it's outstanding.
All I'll say is congratulations, boys. Absolutely take it and run with it without a shadow.
I'm not going to comment. I'll get myself into trouble.
Hey, I'm only saying it's a rumour. I haven't said it's confirmed. Yeah. But it's very clear that they have signed more players Shaw than any club in the entire country.
Have you got a figure?
Yeah, they've signed 17 players over the winter.
That we know of.
According to what we've found. Now,
that's 2 teams.
Yeah, the issue I have with that, and I'm going to say a very famous footballing name, do you all remember what happened when Jose Mourinho signed 82 players for Chelsea? And it would always take them the first half of the season to get things going, wouldn't it? Now, 17
pretty
players.
Much Chelsea collectively over the last few seasons, exactly. To be fair, so still Chelsea. 17
players is a lot of players. And they're coming from far and wide from what we can see, from the Huddersfield League, the Palace Shield, the Liverpool District League, some of the Greater Manchester, the Lancashire. They're from all over the shop. So it'll be really interesting to watch what happens at Shaw. And do you know what? We love a story. And if that's a story for this year, we'll take it all day long, won't we?
That's it. I mean, are they the Great Witchingham of the Manchester League? Is that it? Is Monty there? Where's Monty playing? So is Monty gone to Shaw? Is that the natural place for him?
He was announced. Was it Pelsall, you say, Taaffe?
Yeah.
In the South Staffordshire League. So he's taken a bit of a hit down there. From Great Witchingham, we've gone down to the second level in East Anglia to it's another level below there, but we'll see. You just know Monty.
He can still bowl. The boy can bowl. Absolutely, what a handful.
Certainly can. He didn't do a bad job in the slightest, did he?
No.
Yeah. Have you guys got anybody in the Greater Manchester League that you guys have been working on there, Taaffe?
Yeah, we've got Ankit Kelsey at Egerton, one at Edgeworth.
And the other name that I found really interesting moving there is Junaid Farouk leaving Formby to go to Egerton. That's a really interesting one, I thought. And whilst we're on to Edgerton, let's wish George Harris good luck for the season ahead. Got to be possibly the youngest Premier League captain in the country. Playing in and around Lancashire Twos, going to be rocking up there. His dad's going to be extremely proud of him. I'm just wondering if George will pick his dad or make sure he's dropped.
Be an awkward tea.
I know what happened if my lad was picking the team. I definitely wouldn't be anywhere near it.
Hey, we've talked about Shaw and the amount of signings that have been going on at Shaw. Let's go across the Pennines, shall we? And go to the newest ECB Premier League. It was their first year last year and didn't disappoint. There were plenty of stories coming out of it. But this year, there's only one story, and that is who's not been signing players in the Huddersfield Premier League. It's been utter madness. It started somewhere around the start of September, and 46 transfers later that we've managed to pick up in the Huddersfield League. It's just been non-stop. And it's every bloody club's at it. They're all doing it, whether it be Kirkbutton, whether it be Barkisland, Murfield Parish Cavaliers, the new promoted club, even Hoyle and Swain. What did they win the league by last year, Hugh?
Last year they won it by a lot, but it was it's this strange point system. So it's only by 1 point in the end. Sorry, I forget. 2 points they won it by. Rastrick 99 points, 101 points for Huddenswain. So my memory is failing me. Yeah, so an average of 4.59, I think, is how they worked it out. The top two there were very, very close, and then a big gap to Almondbury Wesleyan Cricket Club.
Okay, and signing them. So Hoyle and Swain, what have they done? Yeah, just pick some names up, and I'm going to watch Hugh's face and Taaffe's face because we know these names ourselves very well. So let's go and get Liam Hyde, shall we, from Castleford? Chavez Yunis from Moorlands. Let's go and get Adnan Ghani from Thongsbridge. Why not just get Chris Holliday from Castleford as well? I mean, They've basically gone out there and handpicked half a dozen of the top players from the whole of bloody Yorkshire, never mind just round the corner. They're becoming a powerhouse there by the looks of things, aren't they, Hugh?
Yeah. And just jumping into Premier League status just adds that cachet, doesn't it, for players? So it just makes it that bit easier to pick up players from overseas and obviously other leagues, because they feel like they are competing on an equal playing field with the Bradford League and other local leagues.
Most definitely. And they've got a cracking overseas as well. I don't think he's one of yours, Taaffe, but Abid Ali. He's a cracking one to add to that list as well. They've also got, they've literally just signed everybody who, as I say, is a great player. But we've also got signed into that Huddersfield League. Brooke Guest has re-signed for Moorlands. Whether he's going to be available very much is a different matter altogether, but I'm sure he will play when he can do. Harry Duke has signed for Kirkburton in the Huddersfield Premier League from Yorkshire, which is a really nice one to pick up along the way. There's been a number of players moved out of Ger Lane and come down to Hoyle and Swain into Moorland as well. And that crossover, I think this is one of these strange things here, isn't it? That Yorkshire North, Yorkshire South, Huddersfield, Bradford leagues are all so close to each other that actually for a player to move from one club to the other, he might go from 20 minutes drive to half an hour drive to his new club, or even getting closer in some cases, because they just fall over each other, don't they?
Yeah, well, it's just Cricket Central up there, isn't it? It's historic Cricket Central, so you can't move for tripping over Premier League sides, and that's why Yorkshire is the powerhouse, isn't it? That it is and has been for the last 200 years or however long it's been producing cricketers for. So yeah, that's a real good place to just go play cricket, watch cricket, and if you are a Premier League player with aspirations, then it does allow you to hop about if you need to.
Yeah, and I do think we have one of our it's my personal new favourite name for a club in a Premier League. The fact that we have Murfield Parish Cavaliers, what a great name for to have in there. We'll be very keen to see how they get on in that league along the way as well. Let's go up north, round the corner from Taaffe, to what some people would describe as the biggest Premier League in the country. They certainly are, without a shadow, one of the most competitive, although the Champions Lower House ran away with it last year. The Lancashire League is, without a shadow, a monster, to say the least, isn't it, Taaffe?
Yeah, it really is. And I probably reckon Lower House will run away with it again this year, to be honest. But yeah, Series League, lots and lots of history, isn't it? So, yeah.
Question is, though, will Daniel Salpietro play as many games for him? He's now Lancashire's second team coach. It depends on where Lancashire are playing on a Monday in the twos. Will he have to travel? I'll have to see what happens there. There's been a lot of re-signed pros in the Lancashire League. There's some very early ones. Jack Snyman was re-signed very quickly. Bryce Parsons was re-signed quickly. I think Erasmus Ockhart's been re-signed. But then we've got some really interesting new ones like Lasego Senequani signing for Enfield, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, Neil Brand, is he on the list to re-sign? Finished with 879
runs. 2-year contract, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, 879 runs for him, some player. And then obviously, most of those names that you mentioned are coming back. Dushan Vamukti, Walsden.
He was the very first re-signed pro in the country last year.
There you go, 39 wickets at 17.
Took the words out of my mouth there. That was early.
But why not? You've got to sign Dushan quick.
You've got to Dushan. Yeah, absolutely.
Very quickly. I think one of the signings that we'll be very interested to see is Diego Rossier moving from the Greater Manchester League. He started like an absolute train on fire last year, didn't he? But then sort of pitted out a little bit in the Greater Manchester League. He's going up to Clitheroe in the Lancashire League. There's a good number of players coming out of the North West Counties League, I've noticed there as well, to Haslingden and Burnley. And I'm going to say that the boys at Lower House won't forgive me, but Burnley cannot have a year like they had last year. They came 9th last year and were teetering on relegation with a couple of 3 weeks to go. That ain't going to happen again, and we want to see Burnley up there and challenging, because that's part and parcel of what makes that league so bloody strong, isn't it?
Yeah, you mentioned Diego Rossier, fresh off 140 odd for Northwest against Dolphins in Potchefstroom, so he's in some form. So it'd be interesting to see if he carries that over. We mentioned players maybe that should be being picked up by professional sides for maybe the T20 Blast, and he's certainly one of those, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mr. Jeet Ravel.
Jeet Ravel as well. Yeah, he's going to be plying his trade at Haslingden. Haslingden have actually been quite active in the transfer market. He'll be a good one. He's one of your boys, isn't he?
He is, yeah. Test match opener. Go and bat in the Lancs League. Enjoy it.
He might never have seen a pitch quite like this one.
I'm sure he'll go all right. The best adapt, don't they? So,
yeah, most definitely. Let's move down a little bit round the corner to where we are in Leicestershire. Let's be brutal about it. Rothley Park last year never looked like they were not going to win the league. It was pretty comfortable for them, I think, throughout the season. I think they had one blip, if I remember rightly. Our friends at Kegworth Town and Alex went down. But we've got Barrow Town and Edgerton Park who've come up, and Edgerton Park have picked up an interest in overseas, Justin Beaton. I've seen that one announced in the last few weeks. That looks a very interesting one. You've got Liam Travaskis who's come down from the North Yorkshire League to Kibworth. Kibworth have been quite busy in the market in terms of picking up players, and they obviously got beat last year by Rothley Park. Outside of that, I don't think it's been that busy in the transfer market. Well, what are you thinking there, Hugh, from last year?
Well, Rothley are just the dominant force, aren't they? So if they've just kept things ticking over, they'll be incredibly difficult to beat. Obviously, you get a fair few of the Leicestershire lads play, and it's then how many of those games can you get?
You do.
Josh Cobb did well last year when he played. He got a full season, 22 games, 800 runs, so he's going to be important for Kibworth. Can they kick on, do one better? Maybe Rothley might just get a bit bored of being so dominant. I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah, you'd think it with a well placed to challenge them if they are to challenge. So yeah, be a bit interesting. I think it's how it starts, isn't it? These leagues where last year's winners were so dominant, if they just fly out the traps, it's hard to catch them. Unless your name's Rory McIlroy.
Without it, yeah. If you can have a sort of a third quarter where it's a bit dodgy, and then you have to come back at the end, don't you, and finish it off. So, got to go all the way to the northeast now, Hugh. Let's go all the way up to the Northeast Premier League. Got a captain's table coming out in the next day or so with the Northeast Premier League, and we've got Chris Eulston, otherwise known as Yozza to a lot of people. He's the skipper at Newcastle and plays for Northumberland in the white ball game, and he talks to me all about the Northeast League and what's cracking on up there. I think what's really interesting in the Northeast League, when I looked at the transfers in particular for the winter, Durham have been quite active themselves in I'm not quite doing a South Wales job in putting the players out there, but there's a lot of the players have been popping up on the list to say, okay, Archie Bailey contracted, going to play at Shotley Bridge. Sam Connors going to play at Castle Eden. Graham Clark going to play at Burnmore. It's great to see these pros coming out and going to play for these clubs, isn't it, Hugh?
Yeah, they've got a real connection, haven't they, up there? A connection to the people. I think sport in general up there is just very. It seems democratic from afar. I don't know whether it is, but there just seem to be these links into the community a little bit more than maybe there is currently in the modern sporting landscape of the UK. So yeah, it's always nice to see what's going on, and obviously the Durham sides are always full of absolute characters. So yeah, it's just great to see them playing, and they seem to play more possibly than elsewhere. It seems to be. So hopefully the pros can be shared around. But there's just so much cricket, isn't there? It's hard to see that they guarantee themselves games.
Signing of the winter that I'm most excited about, dead simple. It's a name that we've used a number of times over the past couple of years. Yash Kathari, who's gone to join the boys at Ashington. He's one of yours, isn't he, Taaffe?
He is, yeah, standout performer. I'm sure he'll just carry on playing his trade this year at Ashington. Yeah,
most definitely.
The name that I'll be disappointed that doesn't come back in the Northeast Premier League is Cody Hoffmeister, because with a name like that that's straight out of Back to the Future, 80, that's an 80s name, isn't it? We want to see him back, and he got 36 wickets and 19 this last year. I assume he's an Aussie, potentially an Aussie. So yeah, just a great name, and I want to see the Hoff.
He's gone from South North to Burnmore, from second place to the champions.
We want to see the Hoff in action.
Yeah. I'm also very interested. We've already mentioned Arthur Wilcox, who is from Downham Stowe, going to be playing in the North East League. But you've also got Eddie Campion from Finchampstead in the Home Counties Premier League. He's up at university playing for Felling. So that'll be an interesting one to do a bit of a comparison there. And then you've got a couple of lads who are moved up from the Sussex League, Sam Jenkins and Toby Barton, who are playing for Benwell Hill. So some real nice comparisons to see how people from completely different leagues altogether come to play in the North East League. It's a tough league, the North East League, obviously. And, they are one of the leagues out there that still do 50-50 white ball and red ball. So you've got to be on your toes all the way through there. Johnny Bushnell's also signed with South North. Again, that'll be a good one to keep an eye on. I've got a sneaky feeling for Burnupfield this year, though. They've made some interesting signings, I think, from the North Yorkshire South Durham League and from the Northumberland Cricket League. And they were always there and thereabouts last year. And as I say, I've spoken to Chris Eulston from Newcastle. They finished in 8th place last year, and they'll be disappointed not to get a little bit higher. But it sounds like it's going to be a really tough league, because in particular, they're going down from 12 to 10 next year. And as a consequence, only one team comes up and 3 go down this year. So that means that whereas 10th place last year for Ashington was enough to stay up, not this year, they'll be going back down.
Well, you're looking at the range of points. I mean, Sunderland did everybody a favour by not really getting their act together and ending with 61 points, but Tynemouth got relegated to 60 points. And then you've got 3rd place with 334 points. So there's only 80 odd points difference, 70 odd points difference between relegation and second. So it shows you how tight that league is. So really, those relegation spots are going to be gained or lost, on a few moments really in the summer. And
I was only saying to Taaffe earlier, that will make the North East Premier League the first league north of Birmingham with just 10. Northern Prem have got it this year. Northeast have got it next year. The Northern Pyramid, have got it this year. So it's going to start to make life a bit more interesting when we go down to 10 to 12.
Is that some kind of guidance, do you think?
Nope. This is all down to the leagues doing what they want themselves. Fair comment, Taaffe?
Yeah, I don't agree with a 10-team league up north. It's too wet. I'll stand by that, and if they change it, they change it. But it doesn't work. So if they want to take that to the league committee, they can.
That's it.
There you go.
That's you triggered in the first few games of the season by the league exec umpire that you face. Yeah.
Absolutely. Talking of things that do work, though, and it's something that will be coming into Northern Premier League, is the point system for players, which we've gone on about for the last couple of years. And starting this weekend, the originators of the point system, the Nottinghamshire League, get going again. Cavs and Carrington, surprise, surprise, have been busy over the winter making some signings, and some bloody good ones, I think. They did a job last year winning that league, beating Cookney into second place and Kimberley Institute into third. They got their business done quite early. Don Brown from Kimberley Institute, Akhil Patel from Kimberley Institute, both going down the road to Cavs and Carrington. Really, really strong signings, that is. And then picking up the likes of Mohsin Kaim from Notts Unity Casuals. Great signing there. And an ex-Zimbabwe international in Tatenda Taibu just happened to rock up at Cavs and Carrington. Yeah, they are a powerhouse, aren't they, Hugh?
Yeah. I think his son's at school fairly locally, so I think that could be the reason why he's living locally. But yeah, I just said that. So you got Akhil. I think Kimberley are going to certainly miss. You got Akhil Patel, who scored 900 runs at 50, obviously moving, and then Oliver Tuati is not coming back. So there's his 45. You're losing 900 runs and 45 wickets in two signings.
Matt Campbell, though.
Right, Matt Campbell. There we go.
So there we go.
Yeah, he's not gone for that far. He obviously liked that sort of being around the A50 league and going across to Nottingham. He's going to work for him there. I'm interested in seeing how Lackey Shaw goes at Cookney. He looks quite interesting. He's putting some stuff out on TikTok already, sort of get back over here, enjoying himself and see what the crack is. But you've also got, I think, Yuvraj Singh. Is he back at Cookney as well? Yeah. And we know how good he was. It's a strong league, the Notts League, Hugh, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it seems to pull in some big names on a regular basis. So, yeah, we'll see how they go. Dan Blatherwick had a really good year, 600 runs. If he can go again, Hucknall could do well. Sav Pereira's popped up playing twos cricket again today. Poor old Sav, he just goes round and round on the two circuit, and nobody quite presses the button on him. So yeah, I assume he's back at Cavs. But yeah, it's lovely to see him still going. But he's a class act, and I almost feel like he's a little bit wasted at Cavs because he's just a one-man wicket-taking, run-scoring machine in Premier League. And if he was in any other club, he'd be probably having a much larger role, but he doesn't need to necessarily have that role because they've got such depth at Cavs. So we'll see.
Most definitely. Right, let's do the final one that's getting going this weekend. We're bound to have missed one, and someone's bound to text me and say, you missed this one, but hey, we can't do everything. The Yorkshire South League. Now, the Yorkshire South League was, at best, fascinating last year because some of the results were bloody random, is the best way to put it. I think Tickhill had a couple of weekends that they want to forget. Sheffield Collegiate definitely had a couple of weekends they want to forget, but still ended up in fourth place. But Cleethorpes ended up top of the pile. But then, you end up top of the pile. You've had one of the most successful pros in the country, Mayank Mishra, for the last couple of years. And then you let him go. And Wickersley Old Village have picked him up, having finished ninth place. Now, Mayank Mishra, he's been a cheat code for the last couple of years. And that was, without a shadow, the single biggest surprise pre-Christmas of all of the ones to go to Wickersley Old Village. It's quite a move for them to jump in and get someone like that. But then, to see them also turn it the other way around, Cleethorpes have signed Nick Keast from Cookney. So, you've got a top player coming in there. Ibrahim Safi from Shire Green has gone across to Wickersley Old Village. And I'm just looking down the other overseas in that league now. Ron and Herman at Tickhill looks an interesting one. Joel Gunn moved up from Cookney to Doncaster Town. And then our friends at Sprotborough, who are one of the promoted clubs, they've re-signed their overseas, and I like to see that. Pratik Kasa got them into the Premier League at Sprotborough last year. He's re-signed, and Sprotborough will arrive in the Yorkshire South Premier League as the single least experienced Premier League squad in the country. They have a grand total of one Premier League appearance between the whole squad.
Wow.
That will be interesting to watch, you.
That's it. Can I start a rumour?
Go on.
Joe Root playing for Sheffield Collegiate. It's not true. It's not true but he's not playing for Yorkshire. So, and he lives, apparently, according to the Wisdom podcast I've listened to today, apparently lives like literally above him, and his mates with the first team captain. What's he doing?
He's been walking the kids in the pushchairs over there for years.
What's he doing? He's not playing for Yorkshire. He's got a few weeks off. Have a run out for Sheffield Collegiate. Should we just start that rumour? Joe Root is playing for Sheffield Collegiate today, and then he will turn up. If they build it, they will come.
We now got fed up of saying Jimmy Anderson's going to sign for Burnley. It never happened.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go down the Joe Root way.
I think so. But surely it'd be rude not to. He's got his kids there. Say if they're one short. Come on, Joe, come and have a knock.
In the fourths.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
just hey, I wonder if they've got a point system.
Well, Sangakkara was playing down in Devon, was it last year, wasn't it? So
did 5 in the Devon for Sangakkara,
yeah.
I mean, in Dorset, sorry. It could be. And I think that what you've got there in South Yorkshire, Taaffe, it is my Misha, isn't it?
Yeah, standout player, standout individual, yeah. So see how he goes. I think it's quite small, isn't it, at Wickersley?
So I'm told.
Yeah, I think it's quite small. So let's see how he goes.
Yeah,
Slug the cow.
Yeah, when you see names that we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 years moving like that, it does make life quite interesting. And will these teams be able to make that jump from what was it, 9th place for Wickersley up towards the top? It's a big move to do that out there. And the South Yorkshire League's a very competitive league. There's no two ways about it. It's been reasonably busy with the transfer market. I don't think it's quite done a Huddersfield, but I think there's been around about 30 transfers so far that we've picked up. But the team I think you've got to keep an eye on this year is Sheffield Collegiate, because they cannot have a disaster like they did once or twice last year. They had a couple of really, really poor results, which made a big difference to them, obviously. But then, they're one of those legacy sides as well, aren't they, Hugh?
That's it. And they haven't, in my memory, they haven't challenged for the past 2 seasons. I'm just having a quick look.
Nope.
Over the past couple of years, 2025, they're only a win or so back in 2025, 2024, again, mid-table, 2023. They won in 2023, so no, it's they got over the line there. So so they've had a couple of fallow years, so maybe they can come back this year. But you'd expect to. They're such a big club, aren't they?
Most definitely. So that's a really quick skim around as many leagues as we can possibly get to in 1 hour. As the boys know, I've got a nightmare editing this as always, but there we go. It's fun. It's the bit that keeps me concentrated and keeps me sort of balanced, to say the least. Simple question. It's about bloody time, Hugh. Can't wait for it, can we?
Well, I started last week. I'm all right, but I didn't really enjoy it because it was so cold. But no, I'm really looking forward to just getting back out there with the boys and having a bit of fun and just staying active. It's part. At 45, whatever I am, it's just nice being active and something to do. I just hate winter, so it's just an excuse. I don't actually like cricket, to be honest. It's just an excuse to be active. But really looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to Mondays and just seeing what's happening every weekend. Should be really, really interesting, and hopefully we get lots of stories. I think we had plenty of stories last year. Some interesting names popping up and funny results and things that we can talk about. So hopefully there's plenty of that.
Yeah, and if you're not sure where to find those stories and you're listening, just go to our website. Keep an eye on our socials. Hugh and I are going to be trying to pump up as much stuff out as possible this year. The leagues who supported us over the last year are all supporting us again with their reports. We've got some new contributors going to be writing reports for us around the country as well, and that'll be great to put some new stuff on there, including a report on the Northern Premier League being written for me every single week. So, Mr. Matt Taaffe, how much are you looking forward to getting your name in our new report?
But the hell, best get my head down.
Looking forward to it though, mate. You've got a League Cup to start with in the Northern Prim.
Yeah, we've got 2 weeks of League Cup. Like I said, I hate winter, so I'm looking forward just to get out there, get back out the house and back with the boys. So yeah, let's see how we go.
And turning your phone off from Hursty.
On silent, it won't be turned off if we're being politically correct.
Absolutely. Hey, is it that Saturday morning where you get that phone call from a club to say we really did expect X, Y, Z?
Yeah, hope so. Hope so, and it's not the other way around. That's for sure. But yeah, no, it's very excited. And let's see. Hopefully, for a good, successful season for Blackpool.
Yeah, and we've got to obviously sort of from all of us say to anyone who's listening, dead simple. Good luck, boys. Here we go. 22 weeks for most leagues we were talking about. One or two got funny league seasons as always. 22 weeks. And don't forget, every single week through the season, we will be doing a Player of the Week poll on our website. And the winner of the Player of the Week poll will win a Premier League Cricket Club baggie from Gentlemen and Players. And at the end of the season, the leading wicket taker and the leading run scorer across the Premier Leagues in the country will receive an honours cap courtesy of Gentlemen and Players. We've actually got awards now. I mean,
an orange cap for the leading run scorer.
Yeah, no, you've got to wear it in the Premier League. You've got to wear an orange lid. You've got to wear the bright orange lid next game. Yeah,
great to be back, boys. And next week we've actually got cricket to talk about.
Fantastic.
Fingers crossed.
Good stuff.
Exactly. All the best, man.
Cheers, gents.